It was amazing. Today was a dream come true. I've been so excited, been waiting for this, and I think the collaboration too of just, all the beautiful ideas, the creativity, it's just been incredible. Bzmam doing my makeup, legend. It was kind of unreal. Yvonne doing my hair, of course Tiffany with the jewels, you guys, amazing, Mandy and the team. It was incredible. I'm so excited to cover. I think everyone's perception of themselves is probably different than what is actually reality and also what the world sees. And I've been in this industry for a little while, and I understand that sometimes you can create an amazing image or persona to yourself, but you have to consistently do the work. You have to consistently go back every single day. From day to day, I sometimes feel like I'm on top of the world, and sometimes I feel like I have so much more to do. Most days I feel like I have so much more to do. I think so. I think it's a little bit of that. I think it's also probably my upbringing. My parents were very tough on me and my siblings, so tough on us. And I think it's a good thing, but I definitely think they kept us grounded. And my husband as well. My husband says to me every day, what is that? Success is never bought, it's rented, and rent is due every single day. But yeah, I think, you have to always stay, humble and stay focused and stay hungry. There's sometimes an element where maybe I'm a little too tough on myself, and then I maybe don't realize that, there has been so many things that we've done, and you still can do more. But I think sometimes I do get hard on myself. I think everyone does. I think beauty is something that nobody owns. Nobody owns the perspective of beauty. Everything from beauty, from the very beginning of our blog, it was always like where beauty is shared, and the perspective is shared. And it's not for me to say this is beautiful or this is not beautiful. And so I think that's the whole point of like us democratizing beauty. We're not the ones democratizing it either. Everyone out there has their part in trying to democratize beauty, trying to make it something that everyone feels that they can, take for themselves, and they feel that they can have power from that. Beauty is something I think still so misinterpreted. I think a lot of people still think that beauty is something on the outside. It's so much more than that. When somebody feels beautiful, whether they are using a product or they just feel glamorous themselves, they feel powerful. And there is so much beauty in that by itself that I really want to be pushing that message as a brand. I think also being a mom, I feel that pressure. My daughter sometimes will come to me and say, Mom, I don't feel beautiful. And it's heartbreaking to hear. Because I went through that as well as a child. I always tell her, I say to her, I'm like, show me the picture of the person or the video of the person that you think you want to look like. And I say to her, like, you don't want to look like them. You want their confidence. Well, you can have that, take that same person, hunch their shoulders over, change their body language, and you won't want to look like them anymore. And I think that's what's so powerful about beauty. It's a feeling, we translate it into, the way something looks, but it's so much deeper than that. Yep. I felt trapped. I felt trapped by, what was going on in the industry. I felt trapped by, sometimes even myself, like feeling the pressure. And I was doing so many things to try to, look a certain way. I was doing fillers and Botox to an extreme that I looked terrible. But I think it is like, getting rid of some of those things that I thought I needed. And it was like there was no end. It's like you do the fillers because you think you need to look a certain way, and then you do the Photoshop on top of it. And I felt I was part of a never-ending cycle, and I was almost like damaging my internal, worth of beauty, and I didn't want to do that. So I remember saying to the team, like, I think we should stop Photoshopping images. And everybody's like, oh, it's not a good idea. Like, it's not going to work. And I was like, no, I really think we should. And then when we launched Wishful, we took a stance. We were launching skincare. I was like, if the skincare works, how are we going to put makeup on a skincare shoot? How are we then going to Photoshop it? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it as a person. And we decided to not do that. And it was a turning point for me in my career and my personal life. But it also was a lot harder for me. Like I remember when I got in front of the camera, I was like, okay, I know how to work a camera, but I have makeup usually. And if the makeup doesn't work, then I use Photoshop. And all of a sudden I felt so exposed and so vulnerable. And I didn't feel like my strong self at that moment. We don't Photoshop my face. We don't Photoshop the skin. We don't Photoshop the shaping, anybody. But we sometimes will Photoshop flyaways and backgrounds, yeah. I think I feel like I'm a very deep person. Like everything for me goes deep. I don't know why. I like to look at things. I was studying something the other day. I'm a nerd. I was studying something the other day and I was talking about different brain waves. And I realized I'm always in the analytical brainwave, which I know is not very healthy to always be there. Like I'm not gonna, be able to be my true potential like that. But yeah, I'm such a nerd. I feel like my ultimate, like me at my ground zero, like my most basic, essential self, I'm just such a goofy nerd. I think COVID was so hard for so many people. And I went through something weird, I think, as an influencer, and as a brand founder. I remember seeing everybody who was in my area as an influencer. They were still traveling. They were posting things as if nothing was going on in the world. And I was like, people are hurting right now. So I took a complete break from social media, completely. It definitely did hurt our business. It did. They were like, okay, you need to post about lipstick. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna talk about it. And so it did become a little bit hard for my team, and it became hard for the business. But I felt so like I needed to do some really deep searching and soul searching and connecting. And I'm really grateful that I did do it. It was a bit of a tough period, but I needed to do that, for myself. I mean, of course, there's so many things that, make someone successful, as you know, too, It's funny, sometimes people ask me, they're like, what's the secret? And I'm like, oh, you work hard, you stay humble, you continue to try to learn more and more, and you try to outdo yourself. And they're like, no, but what's the secret? And it truly is just trying to make sure that you do outdo yourself. Like I do keep a diary, and I'm a little bit militant about that. I keep a diary. I try to take note of where I am at a certain period of time. And I do try to see if I've made changes. I don't always. Sometimes I go back. Sometimes I go forward. It's just the reality of being a person. But I think everyone is successful in different ways, and I sometimes think that I haven't done anything, and sometimes I think that, okay, well, now I can chill, I should retire, So I think success is really like a very arbitrary term, it depends on the person who's thinking about it. So I think success is really, determined on the person. You have the opportunity to build whatever life you want. It just requires a lot of discipline. I think that's probably the winning secret, is just a lot of discipline and, sacrifice. It's not like a fancy or fun answer, but it's the truth. Yeah, I really believe that we are all created with the most amazing superpower, and that is us. Everyone out there has the most obscene amount of potential. It's just about how we actualize that, and discipline for me is probably the number one ingredient for that recipe. Consistency and discipline. And I'm a big fan of it. I practice it with my family, my team. I can be a little annoying because of that. My family sometimes like, come on, take a break. But I do think when you build systems in your life, it becomes easier for you. I definitely have the systems. I spent time building the systems. But discipline is magic. When you're disciplined, I feel like you can do anything. I don't know if it would be happy. Yeah, proud is just fully accepting myself for who I am and not defined by anybody else. If somebody else doesn't think I'm good enough or I am, fitting a certain criteria, well, I really don't care. Their criteria is not mine, and I don't need to take that upon myself. I think it's really about embracing myself into who I am. That's really what I feel. I can go into any scenario now and feel really confident because it doesn't really matter what someone else's perspective of me is. For me, happiness is a funny thing. I feel like I'm genuinely a happy person, but I don't believe in happiness. I believe in feeling content. Like, I think happiness and sadness go up and down. I always feel satisfied. You know, like, I feel like if at any moment in time, like, I were to no longer live, I am content with what I've done. So I feel like I would change that with content. Am I allowed to change the words too? I feel like I feel like content would be high up there. You said success, wealth, yeah, love. Love, I think, would be at the top. Love, contentment, success, and wealth. Yeah. So much. You know, I was born and raised in the States, and I always felt a little bit out of place in the States. And when I moved to Dubai, I just fell in love with the culture here. You know, the Middle East. I never really knew my Middle Eastern roots, the culture, like everything. And I fell in love with it and how artistic it is in the Middle East. And I did fall in love with just being in Dubai and seeing this like limitless perspective. I was immediately just drawn to it. And I felt that, you know, I always felt that maybe I need to go back to the States to build something. And I was like, well, no, people here also have needs. You know, they don't have necessarily a brown Arab Middle Eastern girl talking about beauty. You should be here and build that here. So, you know, I decided to stay here. Ooh. So she is spoiled, but she doesn't behave spoiled. So she gets everything she wants in life. I mean, not material things, but she gets like, you know, she gets the attention. She gets, you know, the love, a lot of love. She gets, I mean, if she wanted material things, she could get them. She doesn't want them. She doesn't want them. But I think it's really about keeping her grounded. So I do try to make sure that I know this is going to sound crazy, I keep her off of social media. She knows she's not allowed to be on social media at all. Even for like a minute, I don't let her on social media. And I think it's just trying to give her perspective on things, you know, trying to be there for her. And, you know, when children and of course, like the youth, they're growing up in a very different way that we grew up with they're exposed to so many different things. I think it's really important to just try to have like real conversations and find those connection points because they're there. I'm always exhausted. I think success is a blessing and a curse. You know, it is. Like success is something on, you know, in some really dark moments, it feels like it's great. And in some moments where you just want to be a normal person or you want to have normal situations, it can be really, really challenging. You know, like for instance, for my daughter, like sometimes she gets bullied at school because I'm her mom, you know, and sometimes she gets treated better because I'm her mom. And you know, you kind of see the two sides to that. It's hard, you know. I think she's been dealing with it since she was young because I started the brand so young. I try to be there for her. Sometimes I try to talk to the moms. Sometimes the moms are the problem. Like I remember one time a mom actually told my daughter, they were like talking about me. They were like, oh, did you know they told her friend told her, not her friend, her frenemy. She wasn't a friend. This girl in her class told her, oh, did you know your mom had her nose done? And Noor forgot that I got my nose done. And she was like, no, she didn't. And I was like, when she came home, I was like, yeah, of course I did. You were there, but why did this girl even tell you in school? So sometimes I feel like she's involved in things that are so beyond what a child should be involved in because of that. I don't want my husband to be mad at me. I think because I've been in love with him for so long, I would say being in charge, but I do like being in charge. You know, it's really funny too, because I think as a woman in charge, you kind of go through a journey, you know, where you're like, wait a second, I am a woman in charge, but that doesn't mean I need to be so alpha. I can still be humble. I can still listen to everybody. I can still hear perspectives. But every once in a while, when I need to bring my alpha personality out, I can, if I need to. I admire so many people. I don't know if my sister Mona knows this, but I have so much admiration for her. She's just the nicest, sweetest, humblest, most helpful person. So we don't always get along. We actually have a very weird relationship, but I have so much respect and appreciation for her. Yeah, I have so many funny stories. You know, it's funny is I used to always stand up for Mona. She used to get bullied a lot in school. And then she would come to me and she would tell me like, this person bothered me or they said something to me. And I would go up to them and I would like knock them out or push them down. And she'd be like, why did I say something? So I was always big sis for her. Yeah. She's one of them. She's definitely on the top of the list. Yeah. Yeah, she's amazing. I have so many dreams. I mean, you know, I do have many dreams when it comes to my daughter, you know, and I think that it is changing, but I do hope that she does, you know, feel that she can be beautiful just the way she is, and she doesn't feel like she has to do anything. There's sometimes where I see like she goes back and forth. Sometimes she feels so confident and so in her element, and sometimes she feels, you know, just really, really down on herself, you know, and so I really do hope that she feels really empowered and embraces who she is, loves herself. And I hope that for like a lot of the kids that are growing up nowadays, like I worry about them sometimes, like seeing so many filtered photos and things that like aren't even real. You know, it scares me sometimes. And I hope that we have more of those conversations so that we can really push through those boundaries and that people can actually feel really good about themselves, you know, and that's part of democratizing the beauty standard. I'm not a crier. I cry when I watch TV or cartoons or commercials, but in life I'm not a crier. I don't know why. I'm not a crier. I get touched and then I cry, but I don't get sad, I get angry. Actually, yeah, I get aggressive. Whenever like I get sad, I get like a little aggressive and I start working more. I don't think it's a good thing. I'll start cleaning. I feel like when people are upset, they clean. I will rearrange my makeup drawer that is so organized and I will rearrange it. That's what I do. I don't really express myself in tears. Yeah. What I want right now? I definitely think peace is something I'm always after, you know, like just peace. And that's something that I think I've been after for a long time, like mental peace, you know, like peace in the way that I'm operating, you know, like as I'm trying to become more embracing of who I am and proud of who I am. I think the whole reason why you get there is because, or you try to get there is to get more peace, you know, so you're not fighting the outside world, you're not fighting who you are internally. So for me, it's just, you know, that's the one thing I feel like I'm always chasing is that inner peace, you know? Was that it? Okay. Okay.